Obsession versus devotion. What's the difference? And why does everybody want men to be obsessed with them? I feel like obsession is an interesting one because most people desire this sort of fantasy where the guy is so obsessed with you that he's going to do whatever you say and he's just going to be in love with you, so much so that he's going to be texting you a million times a day and he's going to kick your door down if he even has some sort of inkling that you are talking to someone else, and he's going to have you as his wallpaper on his phone and on his actual walls, picture of you blown up, and you will be his picture on his pillowcase and mattress, and everything about him will be all about you. And oh my goodness, what a way to feel loved. And I just want to tell you that, like, when a man is obsessed with you, that is worrisome, because obsession usually breeds codependency, and codependency can often lead to abuse. And there's a difference between obsession and devotion. In my opinion and experience, obsession usually comes after a guy has been rejected by you. And that obsession is usually brewing from a place of him wanting to take his power back somehow. And oftentimes that obsession can happen in the form of him just like watching you loads. Like, I have this one guy, right? And I have said in the past in various podcast episodes that I don't always think you should block men, because sometimes they see that you're being emotional, or other times it creates the impression that you're more pressed than you are. But oh, bless me. See, I'm allergic to Okay, let me be serious. There is this one guy. I'm not proud of this. Okay, this was in my period of being what I would call a former / retired pick me. This was when I was in my much earlier 20s, and I did the thing that I felt guilted into doing. I dated a guy because I pitied him. That guy had, and to my suspicions, still has nothing going for him. Till this day, he is still obsessed with me. It is not a flex if a broke man who can't do anything for you is obsessed with you. It is not a flex if a man with no prospects is still trying to chat to you. It is not a flex if a man who is unprepared to be a man, let alone be the man you need. If that man is unprepared, coming up with an empty toolbox, it's not a flex to have it, to be able to say that he's still watching you. This guy I'm talking about, he has sent me email upon email, long-winded for that matter. All have been ignored. This is like over the years of him trying to regain my attention. As of more recent in the timeline, I want to say like I first noticed this behavior a couple years ago, and then it stopped for like a year, and now it started again. A couple years ago, I noticed that he was liking photos on my Instagram grid. And I ignored it because I didn't want to give any attention to it. I didn't want him to even know that I've noticed, because the acknowledgement would do something for him. Even if I blocked him, that's still me acknowledging him, and I know that it would do something for him, so I just ignored it. Now, I've noticed that he has been watching my stories, and that when I knew him, I was not even pole dancing. Now I'm a lot more interesting and a lot more sexy. So he's been watching my stories. I post my pole dancing quite frequently on my stories. I've seen him looking at my stories. Okay, I've seen him send a story response. Like, you know, when you watch someone's story and you like type something in response to their story, so it opens a DM message. I've seen that happen, but he's been acting very weird where like sometimes he will like block my accounts. Because one time, how I even figured out that he blocked me was because I wanted to actually hide my stories from him. So the day that I discovered that he was watching my stories, this would have been maybe 3-4 months ago. The day I discovered he was watching my stories, later that evening I went to go and look for his page based on the handle of his that I remembered seeing. It wasn't coming up in the search, and it was spelt correctly. So I logged into another Instagram account that I have that he would not have access to, and I searched his name and it came up, so I knew that he'd blocked me, which felt very weird because he's been watching me, now he's blocked me. Okay, that's fine, you've blocked me. Now a couple months fly by and now I imagine he's unblocked me because he's now watching my stories again. And I think this would have been weeks ago now, I decided to just block him because that feels like an obsession, and it's not flattering at all because, like I said, it's not flattering for a guy who can't do anything for you to be obsessed with you. Feels a little scary. Don't know what you want from me, but you're not getting it. I'd rather you don't look. I'm 100% sure that you're tossing off while watching my stories. You don't have my permission to toss off while watching me pole dance. It's a shame I can't reach you to fucking beat you up for doing that. But all I can do is control the access by blocking. That is not the same as devotion. When a man is devoted to you, he wants to bring pleasure to your life. Pleasure isn't just sexual. It includes sexual pleasure, but it's not limited to sexual pleasure. He wants to make you feel good. He wants to make you feel taken care of. He wants to make sure that you don't ever want for anything when you're with him. He will do everything in his power to facilitate your joy. He is devoted to making you feel good. That's different to obsession. I think the two end up being misconstrued, and most women just want obsession because they've never known what it feels like to just be accepted and liked for who they are by a guy. Most of these women who want a guy to be obsessed with them are usually women who have been in the unrequited love setup where usually the woman is like anxiously attached and the guy is avoidant, which is usually the common duo you see in our society because most women are anxiously attached and most men are avoidant. Meaning most women desire a level of closeness from men that they don't seem to be getting because they're going for men who end up being avoidant. And when they notice those traits in that man, they just ignore it. They don't take it as, okay, this guy, I'm not compatible with him, let me come and be going. Instead, they feel the need to push through and prove to themselves that they will be the exceptional woman he will change for. And that usually backfires. I just think that if a man's obsessed with you, like the guy who I'm talking about, who I've now blocked, there's something about you that they're trying to figure out. Of course, maybe part of it is that they are wanking from a place of missing you. But a man missing you is not always a good thing. He probably just misses the access that he had to you. He probably misses the version of you that made excuses for him. He probably misses the version of you that pitied him so much that you were prepared to sleep with him. That is not a good thing. Ironically, men who form obsessions with you, they don't really be giving you the treatment that you deserve anyway. They are the ones who will, oh my God, they will trigger you into oblivion. Like, they just enjoy having this weird toxic push-pull thing with you. I'm 28, so I'm not in that place in my 20s anymore where I'm into that. there was a time when I thought that that was what built a solid relationship with someone, when you've been through a lot. Like, what do you mean been through a lot? Why do I need to go through a lot if I'm in love? Like, if someone loves me, the only thing I'm trying to go through is security at the airport, because we going on trips, baby. I'm serious though. I'm not trying to be going through. What do you mean going through a lot? Couldn't be me. And I'm confident in saying couldn't be me because I'm way too self-absorbed to end up in a scenario like that. I know people say you shouldn't say couldn't be me, but I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I'm just way too into myself. It wouldn't happen. But yeah, a lot of men be drawn to you because they're triggered by you. I know that I'm a magnet for the worst men on this planet. Like, I'm a magnet for the men who want to break strong women. I know for sure that I am a magnet for men who want women that were once unattainable to them. I know for sure, which is why I make myself as hard to want as possible. That's why I love doing this podcast, because they come to I've noticed, this is quite recent that I've noticed this one, but I've noticed an interesting influx in men who have been coming to watch my stories of me pole dancing, of course, surprise, surprise. They're coming to watch my stories, but they don't follow me. How did you find this story, young man? Is somebody sending my stories to you in the group chat being like, oh my God, she's doing it again. Oh my God, come and have a look. Is that what's been happening? That's interesting. But I've experienced this recently, actually, where there was a guy, he's a rapper. He is not even relevant enough for me to feel a sense of interest and curiosity in his behavior. And I know that everything he's rapping about is cap, because he's been watching my stories of me pole dancing. And I think he definitely had a hard on and slipped up, because he actually ended up liking one of the stories and sending a response to one of the stories. And the expression that he sent was very enthusiastic. And I know that if he was in his right mind, if he was in his flaccid mind, I don't think he would have done that. I think he would have quietly watched and walked away so that his tracks are not left detectable. But he ended up writing something. It wasn't inappropriate, but it was just like, you know, when a guy's like, oh my God, like, it was that kind of thing. And then the next day I ended up seeing him at an event, which was very unexpected. And surprise, surprise, he acted like he didn't know me. Like, we made eye contact a couple times accidentally, but it was like he was avoiding saying hello to me. So weird. Like, he was literally in my DMs yesterday having a hard on watching me pole dance. And now here you are acting like you can't see me. So all this rapping that you're rapping about being a hard guy, it's all cap, because you saw a gorgeous woman who you were lusting over the night before and you were too scared to approach her. That's how I know you're not a bad man. That's how I know you're not following any bad gang that you're rapping about. You're a soft boy and you're scared of pretty women. So I don't need men to be obsessed with me if they're not going to be obsessed with flourishing and feeding my bank account. I'm not interested in obsession, because most of the time the obsession just comes with baggage. I would like the kind of obsession that's going to come with, oh my God, I just have this, I can't help but send you money. Oh my God, like, for whatever reason, you entered my mind as I was walking to the printer in the office, and I just felt this urge to send you £500. I'm just obsessed with making you feel financially taken care of. I do have this one guy who, it's interesting. I was just talking about obsession and why I'm not into it and why I prefer like a healthy obsession, i.e. send me money. So this one guy, right? I made him send me money. He has a girlfriend. How I know he has a girlfriend is because he doesn't follow me. It's another thing, right? I'm noticing men who come to look at you on Instagram. Maybe they're like coming to watch your stories and they leave and they never come to like follow you. They most likely have a girlfriend. Now, I have no issue with spending the money of a man who has a girlfriend, because he's going to go to someone else anyway with his money. Somebody's going to have to spend it because he's an idiot. So if you're dating a dog, Best believe he's collecting treats from other people and he's wagging his tail for other people. So you just got to decide what you're going to do about that, because that ain't my problem. If your man is coming to me and he's in my DMs loitering, I'm going to avenge on your behalf by taking his money. Okay? I'm doing this for both of us. I'm being the karma that he needs by taking his money and giving him nothing. Anyway, there's this guy. He's been in my DMs for a minute, for a while. I want to say it's been like 3 months of him being in my DMs. The reason I know he's got a girlfriend is because I looked at his page. I saw a picture of him with a woman, but it was like 3 people in the picture, 2 men and 1 woman. I couldn't really tell what the energy was. And that was the only picture I saw on his page. So I went to his tagged photos, and the only tagged photo of him is from his girlfriend's page, of him and his girlfriend. They look like they're going strong. So I'm like, okay, he's got a girlfriend. That's why he's not following me, but he's coming to look, and he's always in my DMs. Anyway, he sent me a message the other day telling me that he's falling in love with me. So I said, why don't you show me how hard you're falling for me here? And I attached my wish tender, which is a website where you can create a wish list and people can basically send you money through that wish list. So you can create monetized tokens on there. This is not crypto, by the way. This is just like, it's an interesting way to just send people money. It's mainly used by sex workers, actually. So I've talked about this before in the past on this podcast, but just for the sake of context, the cheapest thing I've got on there is like £50. So if someone wants to send me £50, you have that option. The most expensive I have on there is, I believe, £12,000. If someone wants to pay my rent for 6 months, you never know. You never know. I've had guys like be quite generous and send me more than £50, which is the minimum. Anyway, with this guy, I said to him, why don't you show me how hard you're falling for me? Attached my wish tender. He then asked me, can I also send via PayPal too? And I said, yes. So then he said to me, can I ask you a question before I send? And I said, we will continue this conversation after you send me the money. Because I'm not doing that. Like, look, when a man is in the mood to send you money, get that money ASAP. Don't hang around. Because when they be asking you, like, can I ask a question? They want to ask you if they can see your breath. Shut up. Send me the money. Then we'll answer the questions. So he actually agreed to send me the money first. The money came through. He sent me like €100. Not big money. He sent me €100. But what was interesting was I made sure that if you're sending me €100, I think he sent it via PayPal. So I said to him, make sure that you put the notes as groceries. Don't be writing, no, goddess, you're amazing, beautiful. No, because they're going to block my PayPal. Did you know that's what they be doing? They be blocking. This was what was happening to sex workers. I saw bare sex workers lose their PayPals because back then, when people were still sort of figuring it out with receiving money digitally, men would be writing like inappropriate stuff in the gift note of the PayPal transaction, and PayPal will just use that as a way to identify you, and they will just block your account with your money still in the account, by the way. I'm not trying to experience that. Like, look, just run me my money. Just put groceries. They put groceries, send me €100. €100 is not life-changing money, okay? €100, now you've got my attention. I'm open to responding to your DMs. So now, when he asked me the question he wanted to ask me, because I gave him permission. First of all, I missed the key part. When he sent me the €100, he sent me a screenshot to show that he sent it. And I didn't say thank you. I said, good boy. Let me tell you why I don't say thank you to men when they send me money. Because when you gift a goddess offerings, you're not entitled to anything back other than seeing her happy from those offerings, and you get to have the validation of being called a good boy. Men want to be called a good boy way more than you think. Ask me how I know. Anyway, I said good boy to him, and then he asked me whether he can now ask me the questions. I was like, ask me the question. I knew he was going to ask me something stupid. He said, now that I've given you your surprise gift, can I ask for a gift in return? I just left it unread. You're not, don't even try it. Don't, in your, so because you sent me €100, what do you think is going to happen? Anyway, left that on red. Please tell me why, since that day, he's been obsessed. Like, he's watching every single story, engaging with every heart, every single story. Some stories that I'll post, he'll be like, this is my favorite one. Like, he's a lot more, I feel like he's just, because he sent me money and because I didn't tell him thank you and I said good boy, he's kind of like, he's pulled into the web. Like, listen, if you're a dominatrix, you know what I'm talking about, innit? Like, when you get a guy in like entry level subspace without telling them that this is what we're going to do, you just do it. Like, just treat him like he's a sub already and watch and see how enticed he's going to be. I don't need this man for anything. If I'm gonna be engaging with him, he needs to be sending me money. I don't care that he has a girlfriend. She should be getting him to send her money too. More times than not, these guys who be sending women money, they already have wives and girlfriends, but their wives/girlfriends are in a set, they've already settled and just sort of relaxed and just let the man sort of do whatever he wants to do. No. You need to be taking that man's money because people like me are out there taking it. Take his money. If he's your man, you make sure you're spending his money, okay? Because he's going to give it to someone else. If it's not me, it'll be someone else. That's why I don't feel bad collecting men's money, married or not, partners or not, because they're going to give it to someone else. So let me help you with that. Give it to me. But yeah, I'm more interested in devotion. I learned that I value devotion from being a dominatrix. I like when a man is devoted to making me feel good. I like when a man is enthusiastic about the nuanced things that make me beautiful. For example, I like guys who like feet because it tells me that you have an appreciation for women's beauty beyond the more obvious things like tits and bum. Like, I've noticed that foot guys, they're like in the entry. It's sort of like, look, if you're a foot guy, look, just accept that you are likely to become, you're going to end up being more than a foot guy. Like, if you come across someone like me, I'm gonna take you beyond being a foot guy. You're going to be into being leashed. You're going to... Like, those are my type of guys. I like guys who already have ownership of their desires towards women, because foot guys, usually they like to please, innit? Because when a guy likes feet, he likes to give women foot massages. Yes, it could be argued that these guys, most of them get their own sexual gratification from them doing something for you, like rubbing your feet. Okay, but in your vanilla relationships with these men, they're getting sexual gratification from gaslighting you. They're getting sexual gratification from watching you go from a 10 to a fucking 5 because you've talked yourself out of your own greatness. These men are getting sexual gratification out of watching you cook for them. So don't mind me. I prefer spending my time around men who like feet, men who have certain kinks that make it more I don't know, they just make it like easier for me to interact with them in the way that comes naturally to me. Like, I'm just biologically wired to be mean. It's just in my DNA. Okay? Can't change it. # nature, # biology. I just, when I'm flirting with a man, you can't tell I'm flirting because I'm literally just being mean. But it's not mean as in like dehumanizing you or devaluing you. It's more just like, I need to see where the parameters are. I like to test to see what you can handle. Like, I need to see it as soon as, if I find a guy attractive, as soon as I need to figure out, like, are you likely to be into the kind of play I'm into? Because if you're not, then there's nothing to talk about. I'm not dating you because you look good. Like, if I wanted to date people for looks, I'll just date women. I'm not dating men for looks. I'm dating men for how devoted they are to me. And I like a man who's devoted. I like a man who is so into my feet that he's having daydreams about what shoes he wants to buy me. I like a man who is so into my like dominant allure that he's just daydreaming about what tasks he could fulfill for me to a high degree of excellence. Like, I don't care if you've wanked over me telling you to I don't know. There's one guy, I think I told this story on this podcast before, but there was one, there was one guy who, he was the one that approached me. He DM'd me saying that he saw me talking about being a dominatrix on 90s Baby podcast. And he's curious about trying it. Like he wants to be a sub for me. So first of all, what I did was I made him send me money on that same Wish Tender website. So he sent me £50, which is the entry sort of. That's the lowest fee I have on there. He sent me £50. And the reason I made him send me money is because I need to see that you are serious about what you've approached me about. You're serious about wanting to be a sub for me. Because a lot of times guys just get off on talking to women about wanting to be a sub. They're literally wanking as they're talking to you. And then when they've wanked, they just disappear. So you need to make my time worth it, because I don't know if you're wanking. Anyway, run me my £50. He ran me my £50. And then we engaged in conversation, and he said he was serious about wanting to be a sub for me. So I said, if you're serious about wanting to be a sub for me, I'm going to need you to send me 500 words detailing what would make you a great sub, what you can do to improve my life, what skills you have that would be useful to me. And he came back like a few days to a week later with the 500 words. I don't think he was going to actually do it, because you know what? Men are just temperamental. Like, you just never know what they're going to do until they do it. He actually did send me the 500 words. Detailing how he's diligent, he's hardworking, he likes to complete tasks to a level of excellence. He's good at giving massages, whatever. And then he wanted to know what I would want from him. So my honest answer was, I want somebody who is going to help me with the task of transcribing my podcast into words. That task is kind of fiddly. It's not impossible, but I don't want to do it because it's going to take a long time. Like, think about how many words in a 1 hour podcast episode. It's a lot of words to just type manually when you can pay for and download software that will generate the words for you. Of course, it will not be perfect, but I don't mind doing the editing, which is what I said to him. I want you to pay for software that will transcribe my podcast episodes for me. I will do the editing myself. Surprise, surprise, lo and behold, after he'd already sent me the 500 words detailing how he's a diligent hard worker, he now came back and said, oh, I don't think I'm going to have time for that. Because he wanted for me to say, oh, what I'm going to need from a sub, someone's going to lick my pussy for me, and lick my feet for me, yeah, and make me feel good sexually. Like, I don't need that. That's not what I would want from a sub. If I'm going to have a sub, and I'm going to give you a task or an errand to do, you're going to do it, or you're not going to be a sub in my life. And either way, that's fine, innit? Because there's more where you came from, okay? The point I'm making is, I don't need men to even want to be subs for me to still feel like a queen and a goddess and a dom. I don't need to force men who are subs to do what I want. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. He probably wanked over me telling him that he's going to need to transcribe my podcast episodes for me, because he probably got off on that. And then when he finished wanking, that's when he now told me, hey, actually, I don't have time for that. I blocked him. I was compensated for my time. £50. It's not big money, but for this little DM exchange I had with him, it made that worthwhile, because most guys will still have the same conversation with you and then ghost you, and you got nothing out of that, other than the brief ego boost of knowing that somebody wants to be useful to you. Unless you want to be financially useful to me, we are not discussing anything. So it's not a compliment if a man's obsessed with you, unless he's obsessed with your bank account and obsessed with beefing up your bank account for you, unless he's obsessed with helping you in your career. He has to be obsessed with improving your life, because what's the point of having a man in your life if he ain't improving your life? Girl, you can't be telling me that the quality of your life is stagnated even while a man is in your life. That don't make any sense to me. I feel like for me, if a man's going to be in my life, yeah, my life would be better than it was when I was single. It has to be, because my life is already very fun while I'm single. So if I'm going to be meddling with men, I'm on an upward trajectory of excitement, of greatness, of fulfilling moments, and feeling like this is tangibly improving my life. That's what devotion to me means. Like, devotion is a man who is committed to servitude, a man who wants to serve you, a man who just wants to be a mere accessory to your greatness. It can't just be foot rubs and him being a footrest. He also actually needs to be intelligent and know how to apply that intelligence to making your life much easier to live in. Or else there is just no point. You can't convince me that a man being obsessed with you but having no materials to support such obsession is a flex. Because how I feel is, if I got 5 empty-handed men obsessed with me, I don't count that as anybody being obsessed with me. It's like, I don't count that as attention. I only count it as attention if I'm actually getting attention from the kind of men that I would actually want to be with. Does that make sense? Attention from men you don't want almost feels like you're not getting any attention at all. So that's why you need to grow out of wanting men to be obsessed with you, because you can have men obsessed with you, but for the wrong reasons. Yeah, they're obsessed with you because you got a good enough credit score for them to mooch off of. Yeah, they're obsessed with you because they see that you're desperate enough to want to have a man move into your house and leech off of you. Yeah, he's obsessed with you because he's a clout chaser. These men be clout chasers too, you know. He's obsessed with you because he just wants to feel what your pussy feels like. He's obsessed with you because one time you made him feel rejected, and he's not entirely over that, and he feels like there's still room for him to get his revenge back. So he's happy to play that game with you and pander to your ego, and then once you finally relax and give in, he's going to switch up on you. Is that what you want? Or do you want a guy who's going to be devoted to you? Devoted to feeding your bank account, devoted to sucking your feet if you need your feet sucked, devoted to cooking for you if you want him to cook for you, devoted to helping you out of any errands you might have that you don't want to run. A man who is devoted to making you feel like the goddess of his life. And you know what they say, it's unrealistic until it's done. Like, I've had people say to me that it's unrealistic to want guys who have money, or it's unrealistic to even want guys who are gonna want to do things for you without them murdering you. It's like, guy needs to go outside. Because I'm living all the things I've been told were unrealistic. I'm living them. Can't tell me it's unrealistic and then I go and do it. Now what? Like, it's unrealistic to other people. That's why you need to redefine what is unrealistic and what's realistic to you. And you need to redefine what devotion feels like and learn to separate devotion and obsession, because when you conflate the two, more than likely you will confuse obsession for devotion, and you will settle for obsession, and you will never know what true devotion feels like, because true devotion does not come with control. True devotion is freedom in knowing that you are so loved that that person just wants to guide and support you with everything that they have. They just want to facilitate your happiness. They just want to see you be free, and they're just happy to have a front seat in watching that happen. That is what you deserve. Don't be letting these boys out here catching you slipping, telling you that they're obsessed with you. If you are so obsessed with me, run me £500. Because if you ain't doing that, then keep that on the playground, because I'm not your mate. That's why you got to get smart and start falling in love through your ears. It's not enough. You need to see it to believe it. You need to feel it to believe it. You need to genuinely witness the levels and lengths this guy is prepared to go to show you that you have no reason to doubt his devotion for you, if he's not doing that, leave that shit on the playground, because he's tapping into what he believes he can use to pander to your desires to get you in a place where you're more likely to open up yourself sexually, because that's what he wants from you. So unless that man is devoted to you, there is no point in opening yourself up to him. And that's where I want to leave this. Take care of yourself.